Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I'm watching Breaking News, the election's most difficult decision by CGP Grey. Now this video was made 3 months ago, so it's around the time of the US election, but the thumbnail had an American flag and something about keeping it simple, something a child could draw, so I think this might actually be a video about some sort of flag rather than the election itself. So let's just check it out.
Breaking news, breaking news. In America, there's an election coming, and the top state to watch for results this time is not one of the uncertain swingers, who knows whatever they'll do, but rather, step up here, Maine. You're the girl of this election season
Maine?
with the most wicked difficult decision.
Wait a second. I think Maine voted for... They voted for someone else. I think it's an independent candidate. I think that's what they call it there. On the map, it was yellow. At least I think that was Maine. It might have been a different state, but let's just check it out. Let's see.
Because bundled in with your vote for that other thing, you've also got to vote. Is it time for something new? A new flag? Because this is really breaking flag news, Maine edition.
Okay, so
There's
it's not
a new
about the
design
election.
to challenge your old look, but before you take a look, let's get a look at your current look. Ah, been flying a classic bluebell design? Let's show the class. Just a sec. Okay. Right. Starting at the top is a North Star dolled up with your motto, Durego. True enough. But back to the seal, sailor on one side, farmer on the other, both leaning on a shield showing off Maine's magnificent forests with a central pine below which a moose just chillin'. Oh, and below that, your name real big, Maine. Yeah, that's you. And this has been your flying flag for nigh on a century
terrible.
now. But the possibility of
it's not the best, but it's not the worst.
What could be next? Behold, the Pine Design, a name that describes itself, but for the simplified North Star in blue. It's a flag with a great big white pine, New England's biggest symbol for New England's biggest, the great state of Maine. So class,
yeah, side by side, I gotta say that the one on the right looks a lot better. I mean, the one on the left is just... it's boring, it's plain. I mean, it's just a star with a tree, that's it. On the right one, it actually looks cool. There's a lot of stuff to look at. It's interesting. The left is just plain and boring. That's all I got to say about it.
Side by side, what do we think? Hard telling, not knowing, eh? This is the election's most difficult decision. And it's a decision not just about Maine, for I see you bluebells over there, looking a mite unsettled, and for sure, your grand bluebell ball has been losing members of late, and with maybe Maine too, others are eyeing the exit. Sure, you've gone to a lot of trouble with the details of the decor. Oh, thank you? But none of these flags do great when graded against guidelines for flags, especially the first. Keep it simple, kid.
Keep it simple.
Something a child could draw. But yet, through tradition and what can only be described...
So is the reason they're changing it just because they have to keep it simple? In my opinion, the more complicated flag looks way better than the simple one. We're not talking about a whole country here. This is just a state, one of the 50 states of the US. Nobody outside of the United States knows what that flag looks like because no one gives a crap. People only look at the flag of the United States. The 50 stars with the red and white stripes. That's it. That's all anybody outside of the US cares about. And inside the US, I would assume the only people who actually know their state flag are the people from said state. Especially when you consider that some Americans probably can't even name all 50 states. Which is just embarrassing, to be honest, since they live in that country. But that's besides the point. These flags are not that important. So since they're not that important, not that many people will look at them, do you really need to know what the state flag looks like? I would say no. Maybe in American schools, they place a lot of value in knowing your state flag. I don't know. I just have no idea. Any Americans out there, you're welcome to tell me if you actually care about your state flag, if that's ever important in any aspect of your life. Because I personally would assume it isn't. But maybe I'm probably wrong. I don't know that much about America.
Described as the Great Internet Flag Wars, these designs have become American iconically, if perhaps a bit ironically. So if this family
those flags look really cool
to shrink yet still survive by keeping its strongest members, then Maine is clearly a top keep contender. For this grand forested land, the seal has a kind of wood-carved appeal. Those jaunty workers, that nameplate, they could be highway signs hand-carved to herald the state. So quaint. When it comes to bluebell tradition, Maine's flag.
I don't like the fact it's so simple. I mean, look at the Firefox logo. It went from something cool to something simple. This is kind of the same in my opinion. You go from something that's cool and looks good to something simple that looks boring and ugly. But that's just my opinion.
Flag claims a strong position, but oh, well now. Turns out the new pine design isn't new at all. This is the original flag of Maine before the bluebell fashion fad swept the states and swept it down cellar.
Good thing
where
they
it's been
changed it,
waiting
because this
whole
looks
time
horrible.
to be spiffed up and brought up as the new old option. So pine design is the most traditional, and once knowing that, suddenly seems so. Look at that subtle off-white coloring, the tasteful retro of it. Now, the pine is complicated for sure, with 16 branches for Maine's 16 counties, but that first guideline is the child should be able to draw the flag
I'll be honest, this flag, it doesn't even look like a flag to me. Keep it simple, something a child could draw. You know, that actually makes a lot of sense, because that flag reminds me of a child's drawing rather than an actual flag.
recognizably, not perfectly. And a tree has got to be one of the top 3 can draw things for kids, next to houses and humans. So totally pass, but a bluebell among bluebells is gonna blur together. But you know what? Who cares? Guidelines aside, the question for a flag that matters most is, do folks want to fly it? So this election, bluebell or pine design, which
I would
will
not
Maine
fly
want
that
to
ugly
wave
one,
more?
hell no.
That's the result we'll all be watching for. Oh, breaking flag news. The results are already in, and Maine will remain as one of the best at the Bluebell Ball.
Actually a good decision by the Americans. I don't care what you say, the new flag, or technically the old flag, ugly as hell. The blue one is way better. It is far superior to the other one. This one's cool, it's nice, it has details, it looks good. The other one, plain and boring, too simple, nothing interesting. But once again, that's my opinion. Maybe you think differently. So let me know down in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, consider subscribing and leaving a like. If you're interested, why not watch this video right here? And with that, I hope I'll see you in the next video.